Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. Our UU of the Week, Margot Adler, was a journalist and an author. She was the New York correspondent for National Public Radio for over 30 years, and she was also a Wiccan high priestess and a Unitarian Universalist. She was the founding member of CUUPS, spelled CUUPS, which stands for the Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans. Margot Adler was born in 1946 in Arkansas, but she lived most of her life in New York City. She did attend Berkeley in California during the Summer of Love and graduated with a bachelor's degree in political science. Later, she earned a master's degree in journalism from Columbia University. Adler was most known for her long and successful career on NPR. She was the host of Justice Talking and contributed regularly to Morning Edition and All Things Considered. She reported on everything from politics to Pokemon, and she was even the first American journalist to interview J.K. Rowling. Margot Adler was also a pagan. Now, some people have confused the meaning of that word. This became clear to me at a dinner party a while ago when I mentioned to a new friend that I had attended a lovely pagan birthday party earlier that afternoon, and her eyes went wide open. I clarified that paganism is simply an earth-centered spiritual tradition. It is a rich practice full of rituals that honor the earth and the rhythm of the seasons. In fact, UU's sixth source of spiritual inspiration and our seventh principle come from the teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Using her skills as a journalist, Margot Adler traveled throughout England and America interviewing druids and witches and pagans. She wrote a book called Drawing Down the Moon, which was published by Beacon Press. It was the first serious examination of nature-based religions, and after its publication, she received a prestigious fellowship at Harvard. Adler chose to be a pagan and a Unitarian because she was able to worship nature and the goddess stories which had fascinated her since she was a child, but she also felt grounded by the rest of the UU tradition, which called on her to see injustice on earth and work to correct it. Adler helped create the Covenant of UU Pagans, or CUUPS, and raised the group's status to an officially recognized independent affiliate of the UUA in 1988. Margot Adler was a frequent speaker at the UUA's General Assembly, where she lifted up the contributions of earth-centered traditions to Unitarian Universalism and celebrated all the ways our faith has been made better with a little ritual and rhythm. Elements like water communion, walking the labyrinth, spiral dances, drumming, chanting, and of course women's sacred circles all make UU churches more beautiful. A part of Margot Adler's faith statement appears in the book called A Chosen Faith, which is about being a Unitarian Universalist. It says, "I chose Unitarian Universalism because I need to live in balance. I can do all those wonderful earth-centered spiritual things, sing under the stars, drum for hours, create moving ceremonies for the changes of the seasons or the passage of time in the lives of men and women. But I also need to be a worldly, down-to-earth person in a complicated world. Someone who believes oppression is real, that tragedies happen, that chaos happens, and that not everything has a purpose. Unitarian Universalism gives me the place to be at home with some of my closest friends, my doubts." After losing her partner to cancer, she began to contemplate death and loss. She became fascinated with vampires, reading over 300 books in the genre. My research did not reveal if she was on Team Edward or Jacob, but Adler did characteristically elevate the topic, when she was asked to speak at the Second International Convocation of Unitarian Universalist Women in Romania. Her friend, Lara Nagel, writes, Adler compared America's 21st century fascination with vampires to that experienced in Great Britain at the close of the 19th century when Dracula, written by Bram Stoker, had been published. She theorized that the two cultures were similar in experiencing the end of an empire, and perhaps also sharing a view of themselves as evil. The British sucking the blood from the colonies, while America was sucking oil through the powerful multinational corporations. Adler later returned to Transylvania, where we all remember the Unitarian Church can trace its roots back to King Sigismund in the 1600s, to learn more about Vlad Drach. But not long after that, Margot Adler died of cancer in 2014. She was a celebrated author, award-winning journalist, a fixture for NPR junkies like myself, a lover of vampires and witches, and a Wiccan high priestess. Talk about a life colorfully lived. And thank you for learning about our UU of the Week, Margot Adler.